Um, Speaking of other movies in development, this is a movie, guys, I'm really excited about. There was also word, this one from Jeremy Conrad, that that Zatanna is apparently in development as a movie. Of course, Zatanna is the magician superhero, very close to Batman. Her father Satara also was a superhero. Guys, I think that this I think is a fantastic idea. I think that if done right, I think this could be one of the biggest individual franchise DC has, because we kind of forget that since the end of Harry Potter, and now with kind of the gross behavior we've seen from J.K. Rowling, the like teen slash young adult magician wizard bag right now is occupied by no one. There's no franchise that's really touching that universe, that fandom, and there are a lot of young kids who love that kind of stuff. And to me, Zatanna is she's charismatic. Her powers are awesome. She's a female, and it's in within the demographic that I think will attract a lot of young teens and young adults to watch. If done right and promoted correctly, I think this could be a huge smash. When I heard this news, I was like, this is great. This is exactly the kind of thing DC should be doing. I'm all for a Zatanna movie. Kendall, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, Zatanna movie. It's an interesting idea. I think casting is going to be important. Um, I think, and whenever I think about casting, I always wonder like, because there are names that I think about where I'm like, oh, this would be interesting. But like, you also wonder about, all right, like what level of actor or actress are they looking for these roles? So for Zatanna, like, are they looking for an A-lister, or are they looking for a TV actor or actress rather that's trying to be on the come up, or is trying to make kind of a big break situation? Those that's always tough to navigate. So, but that's going to be interesting to see, and then also just the age thing as well. Is she going to be somebody that's younger? Or is she going to be somebody that's in her 20s? That'll also be something that they'll have to decide. But to me, this is something, especially with the Constantine stuff that we'll talk about as well. This to me ties into a larger uh, Justice League Dark universe. Um, and whether that's on HBO Max or it's theatrical, I don't know yet. Um, but assuming it ties into a larger Justice League Dark universe, I think that this is interesting. As a one off, I'm a little bit more leery about it. Um, then I think you'd have to really cast somebody that's charismatic, and that is you know that is attention grabbing. But um but outside of that, but if it does connect to the Dark Universe, I think that this could actually catch people's attention, and that along with other characters, and then you kind of combine them. Again, it goes to the Avengers model. I think the Avengers model is doable if you do it right, and it seems like the Dark Universe may be going in that route. And I think it's something that they probably should have learned with the actual Justice League. But no, I think this is mostly good news.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think this is very good news. I mean, when it comes to a Zatanna movie, the first thing that comes to my mind is, like, honestly, like Doctor Strange, with regards to Marvel. I know a lot of people see Doctor Fate as the DC's Doctor Strange, in a lot of ways he is. But I feel like a Zatanna movie can kind of capture that kind of, especially with regards to him studying in the libraries and looking up the spells and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like a Zatanna movie would kind of have that same flavor. though of course less, being stuck in some faraway land kind of thing.
They have less of that,
Yeah, less of that.
the legacy.
Yeah, less of
idea.
that. More just tutelage, personal
Yeah.
tutelage. But I think that in terms of the scale of their abilities and what they'll be able to do, and the types of villains they'll be fighting, I think it'll be something very similar. I think it could be really good. I mean, I think you can make Zatanna a young hero as well. I mean, I think there's a lot of flexibility with that in terms of what DC will want to do, and I think that it could. I don't know. I think it could be really interesting. I mean, it's a young female lead superhero that is not super known, kind of a blank canvas in terms of how you want this hero to be, like personally, like personality wise. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think this is a good idea. So I think there's a lot of upside.
And I feel like Zatanna's powers and kind of her vibe also is very pro. Like, I think females would really get behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like in a lot of ways the criticisms with superheroes are the idea they're these idealized females from the male perspective, and that while there may be female heroes or female characters, they might not really attract female audiences because there's nothing about them that is relatable because it's seen through the eyes of men. But I feel like Zatanna, again, done properly, could feel totally different. I think, again, not to make this, more too simplistic, like, yo, man, girls like magic. But, like, I do feel like just everything about her, she isn't like your typical superhero, Like, she's not, I'm wearing a cape and I punch people.
Yeah, she's not beating people up.
Right. It's a dip. She moves totally differently. I think she moves in a way I think what young girls could absolutely relate to way more than. And it's not to say that there's nothing wrong with Wonder Woman, who I think is a great example of female strength. And I think women related to in a way that was obviously resonated greatly. But I do think there's also something, in some ways, I think even more relatable about Zatanna, because I think she won't feel as foreign, I think, to young females who may want to watch this kind of movie. Like Wonder Woman is outstanding, but part of it is because, like, wow, you don't see women doing that. Or Black Widow is kind of crazy. Like, wow, we don't see women doing like that. And that's, in some ways, the appeal of those kind of characters. But there's also appeal in familiarity. And being, okay, it's a superhero, I'm not sure I'm going to be into this. But then if you watch the movie or you kind of see what Zatanna is about, and you're like, oh, wow, this seems way less superhero-y than I'm used to. This is something I can get behind. I mean, this is, I can't stress enough, I think that this is a idea that DC has to do. I think that this is a huge win potentially if they can pull this off.
My guess is that this will be not theatrically released. My guess is that this is for HBO Max.
Why do you say that?
Well, 'cause I think this is going to tie into whatever Abrams is doing.
All right, which, I mean, again, we should be getting into that very soon as well.
Right.
I also think this is. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say, because it's not theatrically released, I think they're going to go for which actually might be better. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but I think you still may catch that audience that EJ is talking about, that demographic. But I think, I think that also opens the door for more people in terms of casting. I think if you're talking about a theatrical release, if you're not casting an A-lister, man, that's going to be a tough sell. Zatanna, but for an HBO Max series or an HBO Max movie, even, which I think is more likely probably a movie that ties into a Justice League Dark show, kind of doesn't matter who you cast. You could cast an A-lister and that, or somebody that's big in the TV realm, and will go get eyeballs. But you could just be even, so a no-name and still be big.
I also think a movie like this could have a kind of Now You See Me kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Which I think would be Now You See Me, like the magicians, and even well, not necessarily Chris Angel, but I mean, just that kind of the Houdini kind of like what kind of vibe. Like,
that's what's even like different about this is we haven't really seen that.
There's that kind of showmanship.
You know, like we got that with, like Shamari mentioned, something like Now You See Me, but like even Harry Potter is definitely more in the wizard realm.
Right.
You know, the magician thing is really nothing that we've seen before when it comes to like superheroes,
like heroes, right?
So that should be interesting.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this podcast segment, be sure to check out all of our shows on the New Generation Podcast Network on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher.